Hello, friends and fellow gamers. I am That Zero, and today we are back to chat on some more Last Cloudia. And here we are joined today by Falanor, the next patient on the doctor's list. So, go ahead and say hi, Falanor. How you doing?
Hello, so far so good.
Awesome. So, we haven't really talked a whole heck of a lot about your actual goals and where you're at, where you are between, mid-game, end-game, wherever it might be, any particular things like that. So, is there any context you'd like to start with before we start rolling through and taking a look at things?
Well, I played about 2 years ago when the Secret of Mana pull came out, and I stopped shortly after that, after I got Randy, and he was the big thing. I came back within the last week or so and pulled Lug, and I've just kind of been flying by the seat of my pants trying to catch up. I've got Lug up to 100, and I've got his ability board filled out, but I don't really have a lot as far as the skills that you need to have on him, and I don't really know what skills that I need to really have on him. I'm just really looking to, I guess, progress past the point in the game that I'm at right now, because I don't really know what I need to be doing to start really doing some of the higher end bosses. And I join in on some of the god level, otherworldly stuff, but I don't really feel like I'm contributing to the level that other people are. So I'm just looking to really improve the place I'm at the moment.
Awesome. Sweet. So it sounds like in general the biggest thing is some solid build direction on Lug, just so that he can be taken into some content and feel pretty good about that. Let's see what the rest of your comps look like and things as well. Curious, how are soul spots? I mean, you obviously played a lot before, so it looks like this is probably some places that you can improve. So I don't know if this is something that you are actively working on, but there are a bunch of red soul spots at the very least that you can still get. So that'll help soul income. Are you through all of the normal mode content, or are you needing to catch up on some of that stuff that has come out? Have you tried going through some of it?
I just now made it to chapter 4. I have...
Cool.
I've been working through the normal mode just to get points, or get enough crystals to do the training poll, whichever one you get Theria with.
Beautiful.
And then I've been working on just going through the story so I can get enough crystals for the Full Metal Alchemist collab when that comes out.
Nice. So you will be well on your way. So yeah, I'm not going to comment anymore on that then. You'll be working through it. You'll be getting all that fun stuff. Getting soul spots up. That hasn't changed anything from back when you were playing. Soul spots, obviously super important. Let's take a look at your units in general and just see what kind of stuff you're working with. I know you said Randy was pretty much your main before. Ooh, you got Medine. That's pretty nice. And Merity. I mean, solid pickups in general. These guys are absolutely beautiful. I mean, this right here is a pretty balanced team overall, so that's pretty great. Merity, Theria, Lug. I assume with focusing on Lug, yeah, Merity's not very built, which is fine. I'd expect such. Theria, working on her ability board. That's solid.
A little bit.
How is she feeling so far with the little bit that you ever built?
I mean, I can definitely tell that she heals pretty solidly. I haven't really gone into any content with her that I really notice what she's doing. I know that some people talk about using her in the tower and stuff like that. Most of the stuff that I'm doing right now is just stuff that Lug just rolls through.
Cool. Sounds good. Yeah, I was just curious where some of these were actually at. I haven't looked in her ability board in a while. Auto Advanced Magic Circle is a big one for her to get, so I highly recommend trying to focus towards that, just because that automatic regen is very, very helpful. Yeah, alright. I'm just going to assume you know in general things worth going for on units and things. Is that fair to say? I'm not going to go through and look at all the skills and be like, oh, hey, this makes sense. That sound fair? Or would that be beneficial to go into Theria's kit and look at some of the things and be like, okay, this is good, this doesn't matter too much?
Ability board, I mean, I'm just going to fill it out. The things that I struggle with is what arcs to use, and also on Lug here, I'm getting very close to being able to get 5 stars on him, but I don't really know if that's actually necessary.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely will want to do it. He gets a ton of power from 5-star if you can make him up there and then get all of his stuff unlocked. So you definitely will want him up there. I don't know if he plays just fine from what I understand at 4-star, but you will definitely want him to get 5-star to push him further beyond. He gets a lot of good value up there. I think he gets an extra like 3,000 damage cap increase on his dark attacks, including like another 30% dark damage. And that by itself is worth. And I know he's got some other stuff in there too that I'm just not super privy to since I didn't pull him myself. But at the very least, Dark Attack Raise 3, which I believe is that skill, is locked behind Enhance 5, so that's pretty worth. Alright, let's take a look at some of the passive skills you have on him right now. So, some HP up, some magic and attack up. Alright. Fast Brave, Fast Critical. Mostly building strength, which is good. In general, his physical attacks go off of his strength more than his int, from what I understand, even though he has a Thaumaturgy ring. I think the int ups probably don't matter a ton unless you are using him as a caster, which if you are, that's totally fine. He's a pretty competent caster as far as the grand scheme of casters go. Ale of Glory and Pose for Glory. Pose of Glory is super duper good. Ale of Glory is good, but that you'll want to replace with Pirate Feast if you have the pirate ship, Lignus.
I do have the pirate ship. I haven't leveled it up yet.
Okay, cool. So that will be definitely a good thing to work towards. It is an absolute key skill for him to be functioning at high level, especially in multiplayer stuff. In multiplayer stuff, where everything is multi-wave based, just being able to start with all your stocks is huge. So he will definitely love that.
And I mean, that's kind of one of the reasons why I was hoping to get some help for you, because I'm just doing whatever with my arcs right now is another thing. It's like I've pretty much dumped all of my souls into trying to get dual wield on Sandworm, or I think Great Worm, whatever it's called.
Oh, okay.
I don't really know if I actually need that for Lug.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, to perform at a high level, you definitely will want it. He doesn't need it early on. Like, you'll be able to play through probably most of normal mode just fine without, but it's going to feel really good once you can get it. And for highest level stuff, you will start feeling a major difference, probably. So, let's go ahead and take a look at what your arcs actually look like. And part of being able to teach those things is going to be just touching on it again, the soul spots. Like, you need to get these leveled up as much as you can. Like, your gold should be getting pooled into these. These should be getting leveled up. Like, if you have Zell, period, these should be leveled up if they are not max level already.
So, is it more important for me to level these up than to get 5 stars on Lucius?
I think so. I think it probably is. Yeah. I think Luxeus at 4-star, but being able to have a wider variety of skills taught to him is probably more worth in the short term. Because this also just helps you in the long term. Like, this is just currency and investment. So even through, getting Lug build out, this is going to fuel into you leveling up your arcs, which is going to help your other units get leveled up. It's going to make it easier to teach stuff. It's going to make it easier to level up your red soul spots, which are going to need a lot as well. So I absolutely think this is more important than 5-star on Lug. I think he will do just fine at 4-star. This is just such an important thing, getting your investments going in this and just making this good. I mean, having these at like, at least 7, 8, 9 up there is pretty good. But if you have gold bars sitting in your inventory, I would sell them all and just level these all as much as you can. It is very, very worth. And then, like I said, as you go through campaign, just make sure to watch out for more so you can unlock more. Because there's definitely at least like 3 more red ones, I think. And the red ones are what I consider like the fun souls when you're getting through your account, like in the mid game and even sometimes the early game, because red souls are basically just used to teach skills and level up red arcs. Whereas the blue ones, you need to also level the red. So it kind of feels bad to drop like 1 or 200k on leveling up an arc from like 6 to 7 when you could be maybe getting a few levels in your red soul spots. So the more that you can kind of compound your income streams, the easier a time you're going to have with teaching people stuff. So, and then as you get red ones, you can kind of use those for fun things, leveling arcs, teaching skills. And so those are the arcs that I want to look at most that you have, is things you can teach to people using red instead of blue. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. All right, let's take a look at what your library looks like here. I'm going to go ahead and sort this by... I'm going to sort by rarity. So I saw the HP up 4 on Lug. That is great. I love HP up 4. In general, HP up 4, HP up max, and then the one you get from Tower, which is HP up, HP plus 2. Those are kind of the best, most efficient HP skills to throw on people. So 4, pretty great. I assume you have not been able to get all the way through Tower of Trials since
Not
returning.
yet. I'm on like level 7 or something. I haven't
Okay,
actually
cool.
spent much effort on that.
Cool. Sounds good. But you've at least gone in and tried, which is good. That's what I recommend to everybody. Just get as far as you can. It's free rewards no matter what. So, all right.
I think you need to scroll up just a little bit. You're missing a lot of the SSR ones I have.
Oh, I have a filter on. That is why. These are your only reds.
Oh.
That's why. All right. Cool.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I was filtering. So that's my bad. All right. So yeah, Sandworm. You're getting close up there. So that's gonna be sweet. When you can get it. Like I said, eventually when this can get leveled, Pirate Feast will be great on him. Again, it's going to be much easier to hit this if you're spending all of your Zell leveling up your blue so that you can start having currency to fuel into these and power these up quicker. And also raise your cap, because some of these you won't even be able to do if your cap is too low and you can't have enough. So yeah, just another reason to make sure that you can do that. So when you want to start doing fun stuff with blue, it makes it easier to do that.
Gotcha.
Yep. I mean, Final Oath is always super nice, since it's cheap. Pose for Glory, which you already have on Lug. Here, nothing too much. Alicia, Swordsman Tail. Yeah, I would say nothing so amazing that it's worth wasting blue orbs to get this up yet. Eventually for PvP, having this for Sorcerer Slayer is really nice. I don't know what your interest level in Arena is, but...
I'm pretty interested. I've started to play on that.
Cool. If you don't have another source of it, this is probably worth getting to level 3 for Skill Charge 2. Throw that on Lug since you don't have Pirate Feast yet. Then his S2 can have an extra, I think, 20 or 30 seconds at the beginning of every wave. So that might either get him a charge or just get him, going a bit more. So that could be pretty solid. And at level 3, that won't cost too many orbs. Four Lords. Again, it sucks that it's blue. Most of your good ones are blue. And those kind of just need to be used for investment early on. But eventually getting this up to level 9 Berserker is just a generally good damage skill. The way, I would say one of the biggest changes in units since you were in before is previously it was kind of about like raising your strength stat so that any multipliers you put on, like the Slayers and things, would have a nice base in order to multiply their damage off of to be able to more easily hit damage cap, right? That was kind of the mentality back then.
Right.
But it's kind of shifted in a way where base stats are a little bit better, but the main thing is we have so many damage multiplying skills now that the meta is kind of just leave your stats alone until, like, if you just have a, 5 points at the end of your build and you just don't know where to put it, okay, you can bump up your strength or something. Otherwise, you just spend points on things like this that say things like physical attack plus a percentage. This is the same with weapon high boosts and things as well. So like on Unchained Beast, there is Spear high boost. Just physical attack damage plus 15%. You just stack up as many of those as you can on a unit, and all of those damage multipliers going together helps to magnify your damage a lot more. So your actual SC cost for equipping those generally will get you much, much further than any sort of stat raises. So just a good thing to note there for trying to hit higher damage numbers is seek those things with a percentage bonus to your damage.
That makes sense. Because I was confused why my Luke's damage seemed to go up so much after I got Beast Slayer and Human Slayer.
Yes, absolutely. Those are massive boons. Another one that's kind of cheap is Sword Boost. It's only 10%, but still that 10% on top of many other percentages. Like for 4 points, you will not be able to use 4 points to add strength to equate anywhere near a 10% bonus to your damage. So if you have a sword equipped, you can put that on, and then you got a nice little bonus there as well. So something to be aware of and to just keep an eye out for. Just since you're still in the build phase, I always have to look. Beast Hunter. All right, looks like you're at least aware of this because it's leveled up a bit. Do you know why this is so important, Beast Hunter?
I don't know that I fully understand it. I remember hearing somebody talk about you have a much better chance to get items if you have an arc skill leveled up on Beast Hunter, but I don't really understand how it works.
Okay, cool. So basically, if you have Beast Hunter equipped, in your magic menu, you then have a skill for it available to you. This is any arc in general with an arc skill. It becomes accessible in your magic menu. So what this does is, depending on its level, you activate it, and on every enemy on the field, they have a chance to drop an item. That item is the stealable item, like which you would do from farming with like Robin or something, where they have a chance to steal on crit. Yashimaru is a newer version of Robin who is also a thief. There's a few different types of thieves in the game. So it is the same as it was before, but if on the off chance you weren't aware, every enemy can only drop up to 2 different things. One of them is on death, and you cannot modify that chance. The other one is a stealable item that rogues can take. And then once it's been stolen, you can't steal anymore. Well, Beast Hunter says that stealable item, it can drop when you activate this. When you get it to level 10, it's 100% chance, which means every single enemy on the board will drop their stealable item without fail, which is huge because when you're running things like the ability gates, for example, the things where you go get your colored clusters, which, as you may have noticed, is you need a lot of them for these newer units like Lug. They're not cheap like they used to be back in the day. Some single skills might take like 7 or more of a given cluster to level up.
Yeah, he's very expensive.
Yeah, he's a hungry boy. So the arc skill, when you use it at the end and it's at level 10, you guarantee get the extra drop. Well, the clusters only come from the boss wave. So you can just, instead of having to use like a farming unit like we used to do, which can still be good for getting mid-tier, like normal crystals and things, but you could just go in with a full-on DPS unit like Lug and just nuke a wave, nuke, all the way to the boss wave, hit Beast Hunter, and then just nuke the bosses, and you get your full drops, which now, after they've updated some things, I think is 3 of the cluster of the color that you're in, and then 1 rainbow cluster. So, like, when you can only run 3 a day when they're up, I mean, that's still like 9 clusters of any color you want each day that training dungeon is going. So it's pretty huge. So Beast Hunter is a big deal. The only alternative is actually taking in a farming unit, which never does very much damage, in order to force drops that way, and that just doesn't usually feel too great. It's just really slow, and you have better things to do in your day than try to get through hard content with a farming unit. So yeah, it's still worth, when it is this low, to use anyway. And I'm just going to put these into here because you have no reason to put them anywhere else. They should always be going to leveling up this arc skill. And if you see as a reward in any sort of events or shops that you just have spare currency for, keep an eye out for these SR Stardusts. I mean, Stardust in general can be good, but mainly SRs, and then higher level ones like URs are very, very rare. SRs can be nice to have too, but since this is not maxed yet, SRs are really important. Once you get this maxed, I don't think you use these for literally anything else in the game. I mean, you can use these extensions to raise stats and to increase your training rate of certain things. But in general, every single SR Stardust you get should go towards adding extensions to this until this gets to level 10, because it'll just help you a ton, since you don't really have a farming unit. So this kind of just lets you not need one, basically, and still do quite good. Alright, I've taken plenty of time on Beast Hunter. We'll keep going on some of this other crap here. Leveling some stuff. Got some things. I mean, in general, seems like you had played enough that you got, seems like probably all of the RNSRs, which is nice. I don't remember if he comes with it or not, but if Lug does not come with Special Boost, you want to eventually put this on him. Special Boost is really great. It just says the 50% bonus damage that you're getting from Brute and Human Slayer, and an extra 50% on top, making it 100% damage to all those enemy types. So
he might have that. I don't remember.
I feel like he probably does, because his kit at base is just so silly. But if he doesn't, just be aware. He will want that, for sure. It will do wonders. Alright. So, yeah, I'm not seeing a ton of other stuff that's super important early on for what you can get to. There's another one. I don't love this skill, but it is just another one if you don't have many other options. Maybe you're trying to get other arcs, but this is just another flat 20% damage. It's only for skills and special, but still, flat 20%, still pretty reasonable until you can get some others. Hammer boost is another way to raise up his damage and his stats a little bit if you happen to just have a better hammer than something else. I didn't see, did you have... You do not have Caladina, so that'll be a good one to watch for. Yeah, so you'll want that eventually. I would say the biggest recommendation is right now that training dungeon that you did to get Theria. Earlier this year, they did a similar thing for arcs, and I have no doubt they will run it again. So save your crystals and keep at least like 15k no matter what. I mean, maybe on the collab, blow it all, sure. Hopefully they wouldn't drop it right after a collab, but after that, try your best to keep 15k in stock, just because the way they had it set up before was, I think, it was basically 15k, and you could get any arc pitied, and you could do it up to 3 times. So for anybody that was missing like Sandworm and Caladina and something else really key they wanted, they could just be like, okay, 45k gems, I literally have all the things I need now. Plus whatever they pulled along the way. So the devs themselves have basically said the current training banner, as well as those ARC ones that was here earlier this year, like that is what smart people and free-to-play players should absolutely be spending their stuff on, and not just be pulling randomly on stuff. That is the... Those are meant to be the smart banners. So...
Makes sense. So, as far as priority is concerned, I mean, we've talked about a few different skills, but what arc should I be focusing all of my souls on?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's worth filtering by red, just because, like I said, your red souls are your fun souls. So these are ones where they are literally just here to level up your arcs and teach skills to people. So this is the biggest thing to start. Like, look for value in general, just because your blues, I think, should be going towards leveling up your red spots and things like that. So, because of that, something like Hammer High Boost could be really good, if you can get a decent hammer. I mean... trying to think. So, here's part of the thing as well, which is, probably until you get dual wield, you'll probably just have him without weapons anyway. Right? Like you do now. Because at least he's got good stats. And good stats can still go a ways. So eventually this will be good to get up. So if you can get a decent hammer to put on him, you can kind of do some damage testing and just see if the drop in stats is a good trade-off for the... because this gives you extra strength as well as a flat 25% physical damage buff, which is not small. So I would just test and see... even if he's only single-wheeled, if putting a decent hammer on him could make him do pretty well with that. So that's one that can be good. Worst case, endgame, that's pretty nice for certain units to have. Let's see here. Gravemaster. Yeah, I don't care about that one too much. I assume he has Dark Boost already. Oh, and that's only for magic anyway, so he probably doesn't care too much. If you have a means of throwing status ailments on people, Terror Mouth could be good. We can take a look at your weapons and see what your gear looks like. It might be worthwhile to run something that can put on like a poison or a blind or something, and then things like Terror Mouth and Terror Mouth 2. They basically just give you bonuses while they're afflicted with something. So that could be a way of boosting his damage. And the fact that you only have to spend red souls to level it makes it pretty good.
A issue I'm currently having, which I'm trying to resolve with Broken Sword, is that I cannot equip any weapons on Luke because I don't have any weapon equip types.
Yep, that's pretty fair. But you are aware of that and you are looking for ways. So yeah, so Broken Sword is a great one to be leveling just because it is using these red souls. So you're not like losing value there. Something else you could do, did you know what I meant when I said the extends for like upping the AP rate? Like how all this stuff works?
You just use the extends here, and then instead of getting like the 1x5, you get 1x6 or whatever it is, so it makes it go up faster.
Yeah, exactly. So it just ends up costing you less souls to teach crap, which is nice. So, all right, sweet. So you're good to go there. I don't think these matter for him at all. Here, I'll be smart and actually look at this so that I don't have to keep doing crazy stuff or weird stuff.
How did you do that?
Down here, there's a little icon. So it's just the way that the list is being displayed. You can have all of them in a grid, or you can have them all pulled up and showing. This is especially cool in if I go to party and then I go to change my arc. Now if I see it, it shows what things he hasn't learned yet. So you can just scroll through everything.
Oh, wow, okay.
So that's pretty sweet. And then if you want to go even further, something you could do. This was actually in the last update, I believe. So right now I have Unlearned only on. So this is everything. So we can see Geist Training Mountains coming up, but he knows all of this crap. If I turn on Unlearned only, that doesn't even show up in the list anymore. So I can only see things that he still has things he can learn. So, handy.
Oh, wow, okay.
Very handy. So then we can at least go through and see some of this stuff. So I specifically want to look at Red Souls, because that's where I think is most important for you to be spending, so that you're not tempted to spend too much blue stuff. Proud Force is good for self-sustain, if he's got some crit on him. So that won't be bad. Unless he already has it, of course, which maybe he does. But
he does not.
Yeah, so, I mean, when you get Sword Equip on him, you'll be teaching him Proud Force anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. You'll be well on your way. Let us see. Not a whole lot else here. I would say you have Giga Drain here. Teaching that to your Theria is probably pretty solid. In general, debuffs are pretty crazy good in this game just because of how damage calculation works. So her getting one cast to just do a minus 20% defense to everybody on the board is pretty good. So if she's going to be your main support, may as well give her some debuff stuff as well. It'll make Luke just perform better. So that will be cool. I don't see anything else here that is super important to work towards. He already comes with high-level magic chant, so that doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure Theria does as well, so he doesn't really care. Let's see, what else? Decoy could be helpful when you get into some of the multiplayer stuff. Just so if you happen to die, you can at least come back once and then maybe God heal yourself back up or something. But yeah, not a ton from here. I suppose
Man, that is super helpful. When I'm trying to pick an arc, I would go through and I would click on every single arc to see the skills that I wanted.
Yeah, I have done the same, man. I have definitely done the same. All right, I'm trying to see what other things you might have here that could be good. Sky High. I believe all of his attacks trigger Sky High, so that could be good. Is this red? I think. Yeah, so Dimensional Rift would be a good one to get up, because Sky High will be really nice. It's flat. It only costs 4, and it's a 20% extra damage to things in midair. Like I said, I think all of his attacks push people into the air. So that could be a nice little power boost. HP up's not bad to put on, and Allure. It'll make enemies come towards him instead of Theria. Or at least make them more likely to, which is good. Hammer equip is on Miracle of Gord, so if you end up getting a decent hammer and then leveling up to get hammer high boost, this is how you can equip it to him. So Miracle of Gord could be another thing that you put your reds into. Yeah. Alright, and then back over to blues. Again, don't suggest spending a ton of stuff on blue, or from blue, but I can at least point out some things you probably will want eventually. HP up max is great, so eventually getting that on him will be nice. HP up max, if you don't have other damage multipliers to put on, you can get a stat up at least. Unless he comes with max. I think he might actually come with attack and int up max. Okay, cool. Yeah. Irrelevant. These don't particularly matter. At least not enough for me to really care. Again, special boost if he doesn't have it. Critical up 3 if you want a critical build, that could be a thing. I wouldn't highly prioritize it though. I kind of hate the skill just because it's not super efficient. And it's only 8% and it costs you 7. Like, it's still good if you have the room for it, but I wouldn't be dropping a bunch of blues to make it happen early on. Critical up 2 though. Critical up 2 at only level 4 is probably pretty good. Critical up 2 is really good and only costs you 3 and it gives you a 5% extra chance to crit. So that, between that and then getting like Proud Force, his self-sustain will be pretty decent, so he won't have to rely quite as much on Theria to stay alive, so that could be good. Level 4 on an SR shouldn't cost too many. So that could be something. I assume he already comes with Dark Attack Rays. If he doesn't, I guess you can get it here. I think that's one of the...
I think he does.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure if he had... I think you're right. I think he has Dark Attack Rays and Dark Attack Rays 3, so I think it's just 2 that he needs to teach, and I think that's only on a collab arc. But, yeah. Alrighty then. Depending how you play him, Archangel's Blessing eventually might not be bad. Just because if he's casting Black Hole, which costs a lot of MP, and then using Sharp Eyes, which costs a lot of MP, this is one of the better ways to get MP back, aside from Pose for Honor, which he definitely should have. Pose for Honor is a definite. I already talked about Pirate Feast. Pirate Feast is great. This is also how you can equip axes, so that's cool. Dual wield, you already know, you're already working on it. So when you can get it, cool. Do you look at any extends on it? I'm not gonna look. It doesn't matter. Does not matter. Not much more to see here, I don't think. I thought you had either backstab or surprise attack.
I do have surprise attack.
Okay, cool. Sweet, then no reason to level this up at all. Other than for Medine, you'll be happy to have it from Medine because Ice High Drive is super good on her. But that's down the road. Alright. So, yeah, I think like there's some decent stuff there. Hopefully you can luck into some of the other arcs that are out there. Like equipping a sword will be cool because you at least have sword boost, but you don't have the arc for sword high boost, which you would like a lot. Since you do have hammer high boost and those things are all tied to red, it would probably be worth trying to see if you can get a decent hammer to put on him, I think. Just because you have tools to actually do that, and it is cheap. Well, cheap compared to trying to get blue ones up. I believe in the actual map, you'll have to get through a bunch more campaign, I'm sure. But there is a hammer called... are you aware of Last Cloudia Goldmine? The website?
I feel like I've seen somebody say that before, but I don't know that I've ever been on that site.
Okay. Yeah, you should definitely check it out. If you just Google Last Cloudia Goldmine, you should be able to check it out. I wonder if I can... Alright, yeah, you still have a bit of campaign stuff to get into, which is good. It means you have a lot of gems, too. So you've got plenty of roles ahead of you, which is nice. Yeah, you've got all sorts of stuff to do. This is fun. Anyway. Last Cloudia Goldmine, basically if you need any information on skills or arcs or equipment and where you can find them and the things like better detailed explanations of what they do because the game's a little vague sometime, Last Cloudia Goldmine has them all. The guy that makes it is just a pillar in the community. He's on the Reddit constantly helping people. If somebody ever asks how something works and then somebody leaves a description that's like, I don't know, a small essay and really, really detailed, it's that guy. And he's the one that makes Last Cloudia Goldmine. So I would definitely Google it and check it out. And you can go to the equipment and filter by hammer. And I would look for Ancient Hammer and Gnome Hammer. They're some of the best, like, low-level hammers in the game. And those will both be some great options. Otherwise, if you can get some ether farming going... You can also just get the ether reward from basically either of two arcs you have, because you have the two best ether hammers available to you. One being this one, which just for being a pure stat stick is really great. I mean, it's got well over 200 strength, which is pretty solid. Bump your mind up a little too, so your Proud Force does a little bit better. The breaking enemy guard is kind of niche. It's kind of only good on one floor of tower, but still, it could be pretty good. And then the other one that's really good that you also have access to is, let's stop filtering red, is this Doom Dozer. There's another one that's is literally just a stat stick, but in-game it's technically more. It reduces your int in your mind and then gives it to your strength. So in-game it just permanently boosts you by 10% combined of what those are. So
that's quite a bit on Luke. He has like 2200 int or something like that.
Yeah, it won't be that high when you equip this, because when you equip this, it's going to take off God Armor. But he'll still have, when you got him maxed, probably, I would think, 1400 with no int ups on him, which translates to at least a few hundred extra strength, which is pretty reasonable. So if you're already going to go and run Hammer Boost, Hammer High Boost, which you have access to both, and then throw on a big weapon, you know, you can dual that. And when you are able to dual wield, you can put something with him along with this hammer, or even do both hammers and just do two hammers for a little while. And that would probably be a pretty good amount of strength on him, in addition to having your basic multiplier. So yeah, that could be a thing. Do you have anything for ether farming, or have you done any ether farming in the past?
So I read something about the Grandia Mountain, I think.
Yeah.
And I have made it through enough of hard in order to get just to that point.
Nice.
But I've tried to do auto run a couple times and have Luke do like Black Hole or whatever.
Yeah.
To try to kill things. Sometimes he'll just run around and hit stuff with auto attack and not do anything, which kind of stinks. But my biggest problem seems to be I actually seem to crash a lot when I'm trying to just auto run.
Yeah, that's a thing, so I can't really help you much with that. But we could at least take a look and see if we can get Luke better at auto running. So we could take a look and see what you actually got going on. So whenever you auto run, you'll want to make sure to downgrade these. So if you didn't know you could do that, you can artificially reduce this arc level so you're not burning through a ton of souls. So since you're not teaching anything, if you don't need them to have the stats, then you can have that. Because if you're auto running and it doesn't crash and you have it running for a few hours, this is just going to chew through all your souls if they're not level 1. So the main thing to stop him from running around is his stat spread. So right now, he's got about even on strength and int, even higher on strength. You need to get his int higher than his strength by a pretty fair margin, probably 20-30%, and then he should be reliably using Black Hole more. Every once in a while, it still might not, but so the way to do that is to teach him some magic ups. So you can look through your arcs and just see if there's any of them that have some magic ups. I think 3 and 2 should probably be pretty early and pretty cheap on just a SR or an R arc. So you put those on him, and then just toggle these off for when you're auto-farming at least. I don't know if that will be enough, but it might be.
So, in under his skills, he has Thaumaturgy Ring and, like, God Power or something like that gives him like 30% strength. The other one gives him strength based off his int. Will that affect these stats?
It does not. It basically just does it for damage calculation. It doesn't actually affect your stats. So when you use a skill specifically, I believe it's a skill, or maybe it's just physical damage. So when you use a regular attack or a skill, then it just applies damage calculation as though your strength was higher based on your int. So that should not matter. So you could just leave it on. Equip. Another thing that you'll want also is, I'm guessing when he tries to cast, it's really damn slow. Like, it probably takes at least a few seconds for him to cast Black Hole, and then the Black Hole animation takes a while too. So I'm guessing the best you could do right now is, like, if you can one-shot the wave, it's probably like, I don't know, 10 to 15 seconds in a run, I'm guessing. Let's just take a quick look. Does he at least one-shot them when he uses Black Hole?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's good. I figured he would. You got him at level 100, and you've got his ability board pretty much maxed. So I would think that's the case.
I have a lot of trouble when I leave his anima and his charisma on, because he'll cast those and then auto attack a whole lot.
Yeah, so you'll want to take those off too. You just want the magic that you want him casting. So it'll be a little annoying since he's your main, so when you come to play, you'll have to toggle his stuff back on, and then when you leave it to auto, you can go back. Sorry about the frame rate, it's really bad on the emulator.
It's fine. Is there some way to save, like, profiles or something, maybe?
Oh,
like, I don't have to swap all over the place?
I've been asking devs for it for a long time, and we've heard nothing about getting presets or loadouts. So I would love some. I know many other content creators and other people in the community that would love having loadouts available. If we could even save 2 or 3, it would be a godsend. But unfortunately, there is not a thing right now. So, all right. So right now, this is no good. That wasn't that bad, really. I mean, it's only like 3 or 4 seconds to wait. Oh, he barely kills him, though. Oh, there's a few extra ticks of damage. Never mind. Yeah, that's a lot of damage.
My load times are pretty
8 seconds,
when I'm on.
Not actually that bad. So, like, if you got the autoplay going, 8 seconds is not terrible at all, really. So yeah, I actually wouldn't be pretty mad at it. That's pretty good. So if you can get his AI to actually be casting like you would want, that's totally reasonable auto farm. Could it be better? Yeah, but you don't need to go out of your way to make it better. That's better than most people have. So
should I have other people in my party when I'm doing that, or should it just be just the unit?
Yeah, you should. You should have a full team for sure, just because every time you complete, I mean, in general, you're going to be getting XP. So, like, when you're auto farming, it's going to just rack up XP for you. Which actually reminds me, something else that you can do as well. Let's take a look at your arcs. I believe it's red for Grand Bargain, and I think the level 10 skill on that is XP up. You could teach XP up to somebody like Theria, or to just some random unit that you haven't trained yet. And as long as one of them is in the group, you can actually gain like an extra 20 or 25% XP. It's only an SR. So, Grand Bargain. Am I right? Yeah, XP up. So, there's another one you could level up. get up to XP up, teach that to somebody. It costs like 12 SC, but you can just throw it on some dummy unit, and then while you're auto farming, you know, every 5 runs, you basically ran an extra run as far as XP is concerned. So that's something cool. Also with gold, not this one. I already talked about the Miracle of Gourd, giving the hammer equip up here at level 8. This is also red, so that's nice. You can get Gold Rush as well. Gold Rush is basically the same thing. It's an extra 20% to your Zell. So then every 5 runs, you basically got to run for free in auto farming. So you can put this and XP up on somebody. They don't stack, so you just put one on either unit, and you're good to go. So those are some things that could get up there. So if you're struggling with Zell, that's there. I think the XP up is a little bit more important, just because eventually gold won't matter, but for now it does. You need lots of Zell so you can be leveling up all your blue soul spots, so that will be good.
Getting money does seem to be pretty hard. I've been hoarding the amount that I have for quite a while.
Okay. Are you aware about all of your metal bars you can sell?
I am. Every once in a while I'll go to my inventory and sell the ones I collected.
Yeah, as long as you know, that's all I care about. Sometimes I will find people that don't know they're there, and they're like, "Oh my god, I have like 500k sitting in my in my stuff." All right, sweet. So, do you feel like you kind of have a generalized idea for arcs to focus on that are worthwhile, at least?
Yes, I do.
Cool. And I told you, look up on Last Cloudia Gold Mine, see how you get Ancient Hammer or Gnome Hammer. I don't remember if they come from shops or someplace else, but those are some really good free-to-play campaign hammers. I think they're probably only like 4 stars, but they're really quite good. I still sometimes use them in some of my endgame builds. So just as far as getting a hammer is concerned, there's that. Otherwise, ether farming, I suppose showing ether farming is probably good too. We just talked about it, so I would focus on probably getting one weapon, probably a hammer, since you have all the stuff to support hammers for lube eventually. Either pick between Doomdozer or Udlier, however the fuck it's pronounced. Pick one of them so that you can get a hammer from that. That'd be pretty good. Probably don't need both. If you want to do both, cool. Then when you get dual wield, you can just use both of them, I suppose, and that would work for a while until you can get Trishula, because eventually you will need it, obviously, as I'm sure you've heard by everybody and their grandmother. Trying to think other ether rewards that would be good. You will want Shrine of Heresy. You've already got some dupes, and you've got a little bit of progress, but this one gives you, I mean, it's pretty much beautiful, as you can see. Increases cast speed by another 30%, so just like his auto recast. And then plus 15% damage for his black hole as well. So, I mean, pretty great. Pretty great. And then if you want to just make sure that his black hole is instantly cast, you can also level up Red Moon Ruins, and this could be his other accessory. That just gives you a flat 20% on your cast speed. So between what's in his kit and those 2 items, he gets 100% cast speed, which Black Hole might need. I don't know, though. I don't have it. 80% might be good enough for Black Hole, so you can test and see if you even need this. But either way, this is great, and Theria will want this as well. This is this will be on Theria, probably, just because it lets her do AoE healing casts. It enables her to be able to do them at instant speed, which is nice, eventually. You may not need it now, but eventually it will be very, very nice. So, just something to watch for. I do think for Luke specifically, the first one, the Cultist Pendant, will be better, just because his black hole is pretty solid, especially before you have weapons to put on him. As we've seen.
I don't remember where I read this. Somebody was saying the pendant, or whatever it is, off of the Archangel's Smile would be good.
Yeah,
but I don't...
yeah. It is probably pretty good. I don't think it's amazing, but it can be fine. So just because, yeah. So he struggles with getting SET. So if you can get this before you can get Pirate Feast, which is possibly likely, if you can make auto run work and you can get it to run for at least like 4 hours a day, I would guess you could probably get this to Ether 100% before you get Pirate Feast, just because it's all blue and it's SSR. It's really expensive. It's at level 1 right now. So this will just give you something kind of like your Ale of Glory that you have. So this will just be another effect like that, where you just get SET at the beginning of the wave. So you throw on some skill charges like Skill Charge 2 from Unchained Beast. You use your Ale that you've got on him. You could use this on him. And then it naturally increases his SET. Yeah, this could be a really good bridging item. I think end game it might not matter, but where you're at, if you can get it, yeah. I think that's worth throwing in one of your farmable slots. Your Ether farming slots. I wouldn't waste any of your Ethereum on it. Save these until you can get Trish. So make sure that you have, like, just save these until you have at least 20 before you spend any. So that eventually when you get Caladina, you can just rush it. Because it's the only thing that's really super worth rushing, in my opinion. Everything else isn't super mandatory. It's just nice to have. So, yeah, just keep saving those and just slow grind these. So, yeah, I do the Heresy one, pick a hammer, or both hammers if you want. And then, yeah, Archangel Smile I think is a solid bet. That sounds pretty good. Another option, technically, is also this. The Pirate Ship. This bangle will make it so that you have a 10% chance to steal an item. So I talked about what Beast Hunter does. So this will basically just say, hey, you're normally just getting the small chance of getting things on kill when you're auto-farming on Imperial Guard Commander with your black holes. This will say, okay, well, in addition to whatever you're currently getting, you got 10% drops at getting extra loot on top of that, which will equate to probably being like 40 or 50% more drops per run overall, which is
sounds nice.
Which is really great. So when you're still trying to build people and just get some of those resources, not too bad. Not too bad at all. So you get some extra potions, you'll get some extra clusters potentially. A lot of those resources aren't as bad to come by now, just because alchemy's gotten pretty good and the friend gacha is really, really nice right now. But that could be an option too. So you can weigh your options. I think those are kind of your highlights right now that you have available. Thief Bangle, Archangel Smile, and then 2 hammers and the Cultist Pendant. Yeah. The SSRs are probably most worth farming. Cultist Pendant is a little bit less, just because you already have it to like 30-something% just because of dupes. You'll just end up pulling more of them anyway. Whereas these you will have to grind for sure. But yeah, so it's just up to you what you want to prioritize, whether it's skills or making your black hole better so that your auto farming is better. I'll let you decide that, because it's kind of a horse apiece.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's a definitive right answer, but you have to talk to somebody smarter than me for that. I can only get so far. All right. What do your friends look like right now? I suggest using gems to jack this up. I would get 100 friends. Like 100%, you want 100 friends. It is very worth to have a full friends list. Especially right now, if you didn't know, the friend gacha right now is super hot. Okay, you're already using all your stuff, so I'm assuming you're well aware. Yeah. But yeah, it is some super hot fire right now. So getting your friends up, though, will make you get those friend points faster, especially if you're doing auto farming. So with auto farming, you'll be getting much, much more. So hopefully the connection issues can kind of be worked out for you and it won't be quite as bad. I've heard lots of mixed results from people. Mine's usually not too bad, but it is worse than what it used to be. Ever since the last couple updates came out. And there's some people that I know, just like you, who just can't keep it running for like an hour. It just dies. So hopefully it'll work for you. So best of luck on that, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, it seems like you're doing pretty good overall. The fact that you have his board maxed out, at least up to Enhance 4, is really great. He's obviously doing pretty reasonable damage, which is nice. I'd say biggest things is just plowing through campaign on normal mode, get all your soul spots, throw all your gold at leveling these things up, your soul spots, and then just start working towards some of those arcs to start teaching some more skills.
Sounds good. I do have unit questions, so I know we talked about Lug, Theria, and Merity. I did decent, or the other one I had a question about was Lilibet
Oh,
with the Sword Imagineer.
I didn't even see her down here. Lilibet is super nice. Lilibet's great.
So that was deciding what my third should be, because it seems like Luke should be one, Theria should be one, and then the other one I'm confused.
So it's a little bit tough. Early on, it could kind of be anything that you want. I think the one that requires the least amount of effort to be good in your team might just be Medine, just because she'll help your Luke. So if you don't know what I mean, do you know what her on start effect is from her Distant Seaway Queen ability?
I do not.
Cool. So this is one of the best support abilities in the game. Like, she's a great DPS unit, but this makes her like super great in like multiplayer and stuff. Distant Seaway. So on battle start, all your allies get 10 seconds cooldown on all their abilities. So which stacks with your other stuff. So if you get the Archangel Smile Ether Reward, if you you already have the Ale of Honor one, if you have Skill Charge 2, Skill Charge 3, anything like that, this stacks with it. And then I think you already have like Fast Brave on your guy. This will give Fast Grand Brave. So if you have this, you can just take off Fast Brave because this gives you a better version. It gives you a better Fast Critical. So even though he has auto critical, this temporarily gives you an extra 5% crit on top of it for the first 40 seconds and raises his damage cap by an extra 2,000 for the first 40 seconds. So her just existing, this is some great value on a unit. So like, she doesn't even have to be good. Lug is just going to benefit from this. So that's pretty nice.
Does that last throughout like combat, or is
it is basically fast buffs. So they last 40 seconds and then they fall off. Yeah, so in long, drawn-out combat, it's not going to do as much, but when you're just eating through content, it is going to be very good. Now, Lilibet is really great. You could totally be building her, kind of, as long as she's not getting most of your resources, I think. I mean, Lug already is built, basically, aside from teaching him skills and such, so you're not at least spending more clusters on him until you get him to Enhance 5. So I would say focus on building up Theria, obviously filling out her board as you're doing, and then if you wanted to secondarily build up Lilibet, any of these three will be solid. Lilibet is good on her own, and she can do debuffs. So if you wanted a support debuffer, like I said, you can do things like teach Giga Drain to Theria. You could teach her Weak, which just reduces elemental resistances, which you should 100% do. Look for whatever arc has Weak on it. It's just going to be a flat 25% increase to Lug's damage until you get Trish. So if they're resisting some damage, it just drops the resistances by 20% or 25%, which is great. She can do that type of stuff too, and she will be even better at it. So she could be kind of a dedicated debuffer that can also do damage. For kind of end game, well-rounded purposes, Merity is probably the best you could have in your third slot. And the main reason for that is she's kind of like Randy in the sense that she's a neutral damage dealer. So, as you know from back when you played before, one of the reasons he was so hot is he could completely just ignore elemental resistances altogether. Merity gets to do that too. So, when you don't have Trish, or even when you do have Trish, when you have it, you can only use it on one of your elemental DPS, which means Lilibet wants Trish, Medine wants Trish, Lug wants Trish, everybody wants Trish. She doesn't need it. She can run whatever the fuck she wants. She can run your big hammer. Like the, when it comes to picking a hammer, pick the Doomdozer hammer. Now that I'm thinking about it, because it's neutral element, which means it can make her regular attacks do better. So if eventually you don't run it on Lug, which eventually he'll grow out of the hammer, I'm sure. So when he grows out of it, you'll have it for Merity, and Merity will love that hammer.
Gotcha. So
Doomdozer hammer for the one to farm. Anyway, yeah, just the fact that once you start getting into harder and harder content, you're going to be facing enemies that have, you know, maybe 80% resistance to dark, at which case Lug's not going to be doing much damage at all until you get Trish on him, which who knows when you'll be able to do that. Merity's just going to be doing full damage the whole time. So, in preparation of getting to some of that harder content, she's very worth building. Eventually, you'll want all three, though, because they're all really great in their own regard, and they're just beautiful units to have in your account toolkit. But I'll kind of let it be up to you to think, do you want a debuffer? They can eventually be also a good DPS unit. I think she's probably the least intriguing right now, just because she used to be the highest DPS in the game, like for just flat out numbers per second. Lug now exists, and Lug beats the shit out of her. So, so she doesn't really do a ton else other than big damage, and if you're already doing big damage, probably doesn't matter too much. So, for me, it'd be between these two. If I'm talking purely end game, I'd say Merity. Merity also is one of the best breaking units in the game, so if you're in a fight where you need to break the boss a lot, or just break them quickly for some mechanic to work appropriately, Merity is one of the best units in the game for it, so it's added bonus too. So
good to know.
Yeah, so that's what I got on that front. What are some of these other guys you got? Akil's pretty good. Lily's pretty good, doesn't really matter though. Yeah, I mean, these are definitely your highlights, for sure. Just figured I'd take a look and see what else you got, but I don't see a whole lot that I care about. Eventually, maybe they'll be good when they get some buffs or something, but... Alright, now that the long-winded unit stuff is... I'm done with that. Unless you got any other questions. Do you have any other questions in regards to units?
No, that answered my question.
Reasonable? Alright, cool. Yeah, sorry I'm not giving super specific direction. I'm trying to just kind of give information and let you kind of carve your own path, because I think it's just a little bit better to play the game that way in general. It's like, you can still make your choices as long as they're good, educated choices, you know?
Right.
So, alright. Any other questions or areas that you're either struggling with or maybe just don't understand?
Is there any value for me doing Tower of Trials to like the highest level I can get it, or should I continue to focus on the story to get the crystals?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't cost you much of anything other than like a little bit of gems to go in and do. I would definitely, before it goes away, for recovery. I don't know how long it has left. Day 4. I'm sure it tells me at the actual menu, but yeah, every time you should definitely get as far as you can, because it resets every time it comes back. Which means all the rewards you can get for like clearing each floor, you get again when you go through and do it. So every time that I clear it and it comes back, I clear it all the way up to 80 again, because it's just rewards every single floor. Yeah, so getting as high as you can is definitely worthwhile, and it's also just a good way to gauge your account. Like, if you can only make it up to floor 12, and then the next time it comes you can get to, like, 36 or something, you know, you can see some pretty obvious power increases that you've managed to do on your account, you know, which just helps boost morale in the game, too, you know? Makes it feel like, clearly, it's worth what you've been doing, and you're doing things right if you were able to do much better than the last time, so... Yeah, definitely go and do that while it's here. Let's see, some of this other stuff. I assume you've been doing this, I hope?
Yeah, I have. I have almost all the mission rewards.
Okay. Yeah, so as long as you know, definitely do this 5 times a day, even after you have all the mission rewards. Honestly, I wouldn't even probably spend doing these ones very much. But doing 5 a day of these is super huge. This is fine. Like, it's still good. It's good enough rewards to help get all the mission rewards. But these are the big things. Just make sure to not miss all 5 of those, because it is stupid the value they give you for these. And make sure to take in Beast Hunter and use Beast Hunter on the final wave too. Even though it's not maxed, it's still a chance. And the final wave is what gives you the 10 Mother Souls, which means you have a chance at 20. Which means total, this could potentially give you 100 Mother Souls every day. Which is pretty great, considering how long it takes to get souls and level up SC for people. So, yeah, definitely make sure to be doing that. Obviously, make sure when you're training higher level skills to be utilizing these. So when you do get dual wield, don't just run it at level 10. Just use this, if that wasn't obvious. Use this, and if he doesn't get it done right away, just wait till the next day and do it. Don't fast roll it and burn through all your blue souls. You can save like 16 times as many souls by only leveling with this. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep. As far as if you wanted to do some of these multiplayer stuff, the best things to do is probably these these ones, the limit breaker fields, these ones are not nearly as hard as the others. I don't know if you've tried everything, but in general, these are relatively easy. Maybe not for you at your level, I don't know, but a single player could carry through these fights. And usually you're going to have 2 or 3 competent players in, and they're not too bad to actually get through. So doing those is good. These will be much harder to do. You'd probably have to get pretty hard carried through these, and I think that these are a little beyond where your account is ready for, of farming these type of resources towards getting the Godforged weapons. Yeah, I just don't think you're quite prepared for that. And then the other ones are the Mega Cluster dungeons. Until you get Lug to Enhance 5, you don't really need Mega Clusters anyway, and those ones are much harder. I would say the Mega Cluster ones are probably twice as hard as these. So if you do anything, just do these ones. These are a great source of getting some of those mid to high tier mats for like Enhance 4 and things like that. So good resource for that. Yeah, I don't know why I clicked into there. All right, my mind is trailing. You got anything else for me, boss?
I don't think so. You have been a great help. Sweet.
All right, cool, man. Well, if you have any other questions that come up, and maybe you just forgot about something because it's easy to do, at least it's easy for me, just ask in the LC Discord general, in the Discord. And me or somebody else will be able to answer you pretty quick, probably. So if you need some more direction or advice or whatever, yeah, we'll be there to help. So otherwise, obviously, Reddit, the actual official LC Discord, lots of people in the game willing to help. So
all right, good deal. I'll keep that in mind.
Alrighty. Well, good luck, man. I mean, it seems like you're pretty well on your way. You got a good setup for moving in towards endgame. You just have a lot of work to do to get there. So awesome. Go forth and murder things, as I tell people.
All right, will do. Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. You have a nice night. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You as well.
All right.